Hello and welcome to the Enrollment File Error Resolution Report. So here's our agenda. First, we'll go over navigating to the posted error resolution report. Next, the parts of the error report. Then we'll go over ways to resolve errors and warnings, when to reach out, some resources, and we'll go over some best practices. The Clearinghouse was created to serve as a trusted agent to our participating institutions, and our services are designed to facilitate compliance with FERPA, the Higher Education Act, and other applicable laws. As your third-party servicer, we provide enrollment and deferment information to guarantee agencies, lenders, servicers, and the Department of Education on your institution's behalf. The information that is loaded into our database can be used for other clearinghouse services such as student tracker and verifications. When reporting enrollment data for compliance purposes, it is important to report accurate and timely data. The Department of Education and the National Student Loan Data System, also known as NSLDS, requires institutions to certify all federal aid recipients at least every 2 months. You want to be sure to report enrollment status changes to the clearinghouse as swiftly as possible because the Department of Education does require status changes to be sent to the NSLDS within 60 days of the date of determination. Because of these requirements, the clearinghouse encourages you to review and process the error resolution report as swiftly as possible. Once the enrollment file has successfully been submitted to the clearinghouse, the file is set up by our data intake team and it's placed into the enrollment file processing queue. Depending on eligibility, the error report for some files may automatically post to the web. To be eligible for auto posting, a file must be set up as a file type of first of term, subsequent of term, summer first, or summer subsequent. Error reports will not automatically post if a previously submitted enrollment file is still in-house, or if there are file layout issues on the incoming file, or if there are certain errors or warnings that are present. The submission data contact role must be assigned, and it should be assigned to someone at your institution with an active contact profile, and they should have an email address present. Files that are not eligible for auto posting will be reviewed by one of our data operations analysts to determine if they need to reach out, wait for a previously submitted file to be processed, or if they will manually post the error report to the web. Once the errors are posted to the web, an automated email will be sent to the individuals on the contact list, assigned the roles of submission data or submission data alternate and the reports role. Ensuring that your institution's clearinghouse contact list is up to date is vital to the enrollment reporting process as it can mitigate risk. Doing so will help avoid occurrences where key school personnel are not alerted or lack awareness about potential actions they need to take. The email will direct you to log in to the Clearinghouse website to work on the error report. To access the error resolution report, you will log onto our secure website and click on the Student Reporting tab. Then you would click on the Data Reporting Dashboard link. In the Needs Immediate Attention box, you would click on the tile that reads Enrollment Reporting Error Resolution Report. You will then be redirected to a new page where you will see the posted error report list. If you have multiple reporting branches with enrollment files in-house at the same time, you may see more than one line on this list. You'll then click on the date under the Receive Date column to open up the error report. Displayed here is the top portion of the error resolution report landing page. In the top left corner, you will find the Clearinghouse contact box. This box will display the name, phone number, and email address of the analyst that is assigned to your enrollment file. This is the individual to contact if you need assistance with the current error resolution report. In the top center of the page, the submission information box displays the date that we received the file, the certification date, the academic term you are reporting for, the submission type, and the number of days the error resolution report has been posted for review. This section will also show the submission ID number of the file and the school code. We would recommend reviewing this box before making error corrections to ensure that your file was set up correctly as you had intended. Just below the submission information is the Download Error Resolution Report button. This button allows you to export the current list of errors. If you wish to download the error report as it was originally posted, you will need to do this before making any corrections. If you wait to export the list until after you make any corrections, the export list will only display the remaining errors. We recommend downloading the error resolution report to use it as a reference when changes are made on the error resolution report that also need to be made in your student information system. This is to help avoid repeat errors on future files. The downloaded report can also be beneficial when working with your IT department or your student information system vendor on error-related issues. On the right, you will see the Request to Reject Submission button. If there are a large quantity of errors, unexpected errors, or if the file is not set up in the correct submission type, before clicking the Request to Reject button, please reach out to us if you would like any assistance with reviewing the file and the errors that have generated. If you request to reject the file without reaching out to us, an analyst may or may not reach out to you before they go ahead and reject the file. Here we see the bottom portion of the error resolution report landing page. The error list displays 3 columns: the error number, the error description, and the error count. Errors identified in red are critical errors that are required to be corrected before the error report can be returned to the clearinghouse and before we can process the enrollment file. Errors identified in black are warnings and can be accepted if the record reflects current and accurate data for the student. All warnings should be reviewed for accuracy and updated if incorrect data is present. Click anywhere on the error row to review the error or warning for the error code that is posted. Here we see what a typical error screen would look like. The top cream-colored box provides a brief explanation and resolution to correct the error. Next is what we call the mass correction button. Not all errors or warnings are eligible for mass correction, and only certain fields can be updated through this process. When you click this button, it will take you to a new screen. Here you will check the Select Error box and enter the information that should be applied, and then click Submit. Again, this will apply the correction to all of the records with this particular error number. While your errors are going through the mass correction process, you will not be able to access the error report. You will receive an email once the mass correction is complete. Depending on various factors, it could take some time for the mass correction to complete, so it may be more efficient to only use this option for large quantity corrections. Going back to the error screen, we next have the Group Update option. If you click the circle plus button on the left, it will expand the Group Edit tool. The Group Edit is a great option if multiple but not all records need to be updated to reflect the same change. You would select the necessary students, check the box next to the fields that need to be updated, then selected fields will change from gray to white and become editable. Once the correct data is entered, click the Update and Submit for Validation button, and now this process can be repeated for the next group edit. The fields that populate in the Group Edit option will vary depending on which error or warning is being reviewed. Many errors and warnings cannot or should not be updated through the mass or group update options because the information may vary from person to person. There are 2 ways to review and update the students individually. The first option is to make the correction from the error screen. With this option, you would update the editable field or fields displayed on the error page. Check the select box to the right of the record. Then click the Submit Selected Records for Validation button. You can either choose to update the checkbox and submit after each student, or you can update the field and check the select box for multiple students before clicking the Submit for Validation button. The second option is to detail into each record to review the entire record for the student. By detailing into the record, you will be able to see if there are other fields impacted by the error. You can also see if other fields should be updated or if other errors and warnings are present on the record. Detailing into the records is the clearinghouse's recommended option for correcting errors. The circle plus button to the left of the student's information is the Details button. When clicked, this will expand the student's record to display more information that was submitted for the student on the incoming file. Some of the errors require you to detail into the record to make a correction. When you detail into the record, the section and field impacted by the error will be expanded and outlined in red. To update the record, input the correct data for the student, keeping in mind that we are looking for the accurate data for the student as of the certification date of the file for the term that is being reported. Once you have made the correction to the record, you will need to click the Submit for Validation button. This button can be found at the top or bottom of the detail screen. If there are additional red errors present on the student's record, a pop-up box will appear providing the error code numbers and a description for the red errors that still remain on the student's record. The fields impacted by the remaining errors will be outlined in red on the record itself. Corrections to these remaining errors can be performed while the pop-up box is present. Before submitting the record for validation, all of the remaining red errors will need to be reviewed and updated. Once all of the red errors are resolved for the student, the system will then check for black warnings. A pop-up box will appear displaying the warning code numbers and a description for the black warnings that still remain on the student's record. The warnings should be reviewed for accuracy and updated as necessary. Black warnings can be accepted as is if the information reflects accurate data. To review the warnings and make edits from the detail screen, click Cancel or the X on the pop-up box to go back to the record. The fields with warnings will be outlined in orange. Make your corrections as needed and submit the record for validation. If you do not want to make updates for the warnings from the detail screen, you can click OK and submit. The warnings will still be listed on the error report landing page. As a reminder, if the data reflected in the black warning is correct, but it is still flagging as a warning, clicking the Submit for Validation button will not clear the warning from the error report list. Updates that reflect incorrect data should not be made to records for the sole purpose of clearing the black warning. There are often situations in which we would want or need to accept the data even though it is flagged with a black warning. While detailed into a student's record and working on their errors and warnings, you will be able to expand other sections to view the full record. Some of the fields will be grayed out and prevent you from making certain changes on the record, while others are open and allow edits to be made. If you need to add a new program for the student, you can do so by clicking the Add Program button and populating the required data for the program. This includes the SIP code, SIP year, credential level, program length measurement, the program begin date, program special indicator, program enrollment status, program status effective date, and if applicable, the program weeks in Title IV academic year. When adding the program length and the program weeks in academic year, these fields require 6-digit to be populated in these fields. To determine how data should be populated in these fields, you might find it beneficial to picture an imaginary decimal after the third digit. Numbers in the first 3 digits are whole numbers, while digits in the second 3 digits are fractions. For example, if your institution offers a 60-week program and a 2.5-year program, the 60-week program would have a program length measurement of weeks, and the program length should be populated as 060000. Whereas if it's a 2.5-year program, you'd have the program length measurement selected as years, and the program length would be populated as 002500. In the example displayed on this slide, this student is being reported in a 4-year program since the program length is reported as 004000. The weeks in Title IV academic year should only be populated if the program length measurement is in weeks or months. If needed, this field should be populated with the number of weeks in your institution's academic year. It is typically the same number of weeks for all students. The format for this field is the same as the program length field. 6 digits are required and whole numbers are within the first 3 digits. Partial weeks of attendance should be reported as full weeks. For example, if winter break starts on a Wednesday, the last week before break should be counted as a full week. If the academic calendar runs for 31 and a half weeks, that should be reported as 32 full weeks and written out as 032000. Up to 6 active programs are allowed to be on a student record. If a new program was submitted on the file or you added it while working the error report, you do have the ability to delete the program. If all programs for the student record are new, all of the program fields will be editable. New programs on a student's record can also be deleted. If all the programs listed on a student's record are new, but should not have been reported, they can be deleted, and the program indicator should be set to no. Many of the errors and warnings are calling attention to incoming data that conflicts with the data that was previously reported for the student. If you would like to see a comparison of the data on the incoming record compared to the previous record, click on the View Previously Reported Student Data link. A pop-up box will then appear. The data in the blue column under this submission is the data that is being reported on the incoming file, while the data in the cream-colored column under Previously Certified Enrollment Data is the data that was previously captured for the student. You are able to see the entire record that is being reported on the incoming record on this data comparison box that comes up. You can also see the entire record that was previously reported for the student as well. Once all errors and warnings have been addressed and there are no longer any errors or warnings present on the main error page, the file will automatically return to the clearinghouse for the assigned analyst to review. If no red errors are present on the file, but there are black warnings still present, the I am done button will appear on the screen above the list of remaining warnings. If you wish to accept the warnings as is, you are always welcome to reach out to the analyst assigned to the file or email schoolops@studentclearinghouse.org to advise that you have reviewed and updated the warnings and that you would like to accept what is remaining. The analyst will review the warnings when they are returned from the web and will follow up with you if they have any additional questions. You are not required to reach out to us to request that we accept the remaining warnings, but this extra step can help prevent warnings from being reposted to the web, which will help expedite the processing of your file. Clicking the I am done button will return the file to the assigned analyst for review. Since many returned warnings can be accepted, if your institution returns the black warnings without making necessary corrections, there is a chance that we will accept them without reposting or reaching out to confirm them, which could allow incorrect information into our database. This is why it is critical that the black warnings are reviewed and updated if necessary before returning the error report. Once you have reviewed and made the necessary corrections to all of the errors and warnings, you will need to click the I am done button in the center of the page. This will send the file back to the clearinghouse for the analyst to perform a final review. If there are any additional errors to review or information to confirm, we will repost the error report and/or reach out to the submission data contact listed at your institution. If you encounter an error or warning that you are not sure how to resolve, there is an error guide at the end of the Enrollment Reporting, Programming, and Testing Guide. There might also be a tutorial for the warning code in question on the Clearinghouse Academy website. In particular, the Enrollment Reporting Error Resolution course has the tutorials for specific enrollment file error code. However, if you still have questions after reading the error guide or watching the tutorial, or you do not find that there is a tutorial available for the error you are working on, please reach out to the analyst that's assigned to your file before attempting to make corrections. I previously mentioned that there are some situations where we are able to accept the black warnings as reported. However, there are some black warnings that may require additional review or that we may need to resolve together. One of those warnings is the error code 2. This warning occurs when 2 records with the same Social Security number are sent in on a file. We are only able to accept 1 record per SSN on a file. Please review the records flagged with an error code 2 in your student information system to determine the cause and to make the corrections internally to avoid future errors and reach out to the assigned analyst for assistance. While the error code 2 is a black warning, it must be resolved before we can process the file. If your institution has initiated any SIS changes or has made any corrections that impact a large population of students, such as redefining a program zip code or correcting previously reported incorrect term dates, please let us know either before submitting the file or once the error report has been posted before you make any corrections. This will help us anticipate and potentially assist with resolving or accepting errors that may have come up. A sign that there are spacing errors present on the file, or that a record is seeing several errors for the same student, or a set of students seeing information populated in the wrong fields on the error report. You will be able to detail into the record and update many of the fields impacted, but there may be fields that need to be updated that you can't edit on the detail record screen. Once all of the errors and warnings for those not impacted by the spacing error have been corrected, please reach out to the assigned analyst with the names of the students impacted so they can assist further as needed. In general, if you do encounter a large quantity of errors, you should contact the assigned analyst. This is especially true for the error code 4, 75, or 252. However, even in small quantities, accepting incorrect records with certain warnings, such as a 75 or a 252, could impact a student's enrollment record. Before we wrap up, I just want to take a moment to mention a reminder about online updates. Most online updates cannot be submitted or processed when there is a file in-house. You attempt to update a student, but the file in-house is preventing you from submitting the update. You will encounter an alert box like the one pictured here. The alert advises you to reach out to the clearinghouse for assistance. If the update is for a student that is being reported on the current enrollment file in-house, reach out to the assigned analyst to determine if the information that needs to be updated is reflected on the file, or to see if the change can be applied to the file before it's processed. Factors such as the certification date and the type of update will determine if the analyst can apply the change to the file. If the student is not being reported on the current enrollment file, the analyst assigned to your files will not be able to perform the update on your behalf. So please avoid sending the information to them that needs to be updated. Instead, feel free to reach out to check on the status of the file. We often find that an error report is posted to the web for the school to review, and we are not able to process the file until all errors and warnings are reviewed and corrected or confirmed. Based on what we covered today, here are some enrollment reporting best practices. Submitting on time and in sync with your submission schedule and file type. Identifying and ensure the students that should be reported on enrollment files with accurate campus and program enrollment. Saving and processing your error resolution on the web report in a timely manner. Updating your student information system with any changes you make on your error report to avoid future errors and warnings. Contact school ops at studentclearinghouse.org or calling 703-742-4880 with any questions related to enrollment reporting. And going to look at the on-demand content and future live presentation events can be found on the Clearinghouse Academy website. I hope you enjoyed today's presentation. I would encourage everyone to sign up for remaining webinars in the enrollment reporting series. Part 4 will cover what happens once the file has been processed and what to do with the reject detail report.